Now let's talk about promotion. When we started, we said the pawns, they move forward, they go straight, and they capture to the side. So this pawn can actually go straight, and this can go straight, right? And they capture the side. So this can go, if this goes this way and this goes this way, this can capture. So, but now what happens when the pawn now gets all the way to the other side? As you can see, the pawns start out on the second rank and they begin to proceed and move forward. Now, what happens when they get to the other side? When they get to the other side, they have to change. We call it promotion. They're not allowed to stay a pawn because, you know, they don't go backwards. So if they get here and nothing happens, they're just going to be here. So they have to change to something else. We cannot have two kings on the chessboard. So the changing into a king is out of it. But they can change to something else. They cannot remain a pawn, and they cannot change to a king. Any other thing is possible. So they can change to a queen, a rook, a bishop, or a knight. Now, if black makes a move like this, for example, now watch, I'm trying to get this. When I make this move, now do you see the options that I have? I can either get a queen, I can get a knight, I can get a rook, or a bishop. So I have to get one of this. So this is called promotion. And this happens when the pawn gets to the other side. In this case, I'll get a knight. Because when I get a knight, 1, 2, turn, 1, 2, turn. I'm attacking two pieces. Okay, but we'll get to that. So that is basically what promotion is. Promotion is when your pawn matches to the other side and it has to transform into something. You can either turn into a queen, a rook, a bishop, or a knight. Before we go on to pins, we should talk about a special move called castling. Castling is a special move made by the king. When we started, we said the king moved one step in our direction. The king can only go to 3 squares now because of this queen and pawn on those 2 squares. But the king has a special move called castling. When you castle, the king moves 2 steps to the left or to the right, and then the rook jumps over. So I'm going to castle to the right with this king, with the white king. 1, 2. And then the rook jumps over. The computer automatically does it. The rook jumps over. And then I'm going to castle to the left with the black king. 1, 2, the same thing. Now I've castled. Now, there's a difference. When I castle to the right, I have 1 space left on the side of the board to the right. And when I castle to the left, I have 2 spaces left on the side of the board to the left. This is normal. All that matters is you moving your king 2 squares to the left or to the right. Right? So here you go castle and castle. Now let's talk about the 5 times in chess when you cannot castle. In this position, the white king can castle by moving 2 steps to the right. 1, 2. And the black king can castle by moving 2 steps to the left. 1, 2. Now we both castle. Now, we have 5 times when you cannot castle. The white king in this position cannot castle to the left because there's a piece standing in the way of the king and the rook. As long as there's a piece in the way, you're not allowed to castle. You're allowed to castle the other way, but you cannot castle to the side where you have a piece in the way. So this is one of the reasons this is one of the situations where you cannot castle. Another situation where you cannot castle is if you move your king. Like if I castle, for example, and black makes this move, and I move my knight, and he goes back here, and let's say I move a pawn. Now the king is on the same square he started on, but he still cannot castle because the king has moved. The fact that the king moved up and then moved back down, the king can no longer castle. And this happens, now I'm moving the position back to the starting position. The same thing happens when you move the rook. When you move your king during the game, you can no longer castle. The same thing, when you move a rook, if I castle and black moves this way, black can no longer castle to the side because he moved the rook. Now the king is back to the normal position, but black can no longer castle to the side, but he can still castle to the side. Because he only moved the king, the rook on the side of the board. So when you move a piece like a king, if you move your king, you can no longer castle. If you move a rook on either side, you can castle to the side where you move the rook. So if you move the rook on the right, you can castle this way. And if you move the rook on the left, you can castle this way. So that's the second time you can castle. The third time you can castle, those are the second and third time you can castle, the king and the rook. Now, the fourth time when you can castle is, let me give you an example. So white has made a move like this, and black decides to make a move like this. Or let's say this. Now white castles. Because the rook is aiming, remember when we did checkmate? The rook checkmate. The rook is aiming at all the squares on this line. The black king is not allowed to cross this line to safety because castling is a way of putting your king to safety. This square is not safe, the d8 square, because the rook is aiming at the d8 square. And as such, the king cannot cross this line to castle. The king can castle this way. See that? But the king cannot castle this way. See, I try to do that, but I'm not allowed to do that because there's a rook aiming at the square that I need to use to castle. So this is the fourth time you can castle. And the last time you can castle is when it gets like this. So let's say I castle and then he plays this rook here. And then I give him a check, my rook, check. Now he can castle. The king is under attack and you cannot castle. So when your king is under attack, you can castle. You can either do capture, protect, or run away. In this position, you can capture because there's no piece aiming at this way. And you cannot protect because there's no way any of your pieces can get in the way. So the only available option is to run away. And you cannot even come to this way because of this rook. So you have to go here. This is the only move you have at this point. So the 5 times when you can castle. When you move your king, you can castle. When you move your rook or either rooks, you can castle to the side where you move the rook. When there's a piece in the way, you can castle. When your king is going to pass through an attacked square, you cannot castle. And then when your king is under attack, like a check, you can castle. So those are the 5 times in chess where you can castle. So now we go to pins, forks, skewers, and discovered attacks.